Sagittarius, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a general reading for 2025. And if you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you, and I also want to welcome back my any subscribers that are coming back. So, what I'm going to do in today's reading is I'm going to focus on three main themes for you for 2025. I want to look at the first one's power. So I want to look at what pattern or old habit is no longer serving you, and the one that needs to be released so that you can take back your power. And then secondly, I want to look at truth. So I want to look at what false idea or belief system do you have about yourself that you need to become aware of. And then finally, I want to look at purpose. I want to look at what is the main obstacle that's preventing you from moving forward to take your next step, whether it's a big step or a small step towards your creative purpose in 2025. So let's get started. I'm going to be using the Ehrenberg Tarot. I'm going to clarify with Tarot Vintage. I'm also going to clarify with the Radiant deck. And I'm going to take a minute right now to deal out your hand. I'm going to put it on fast speed shuffle, and I'll be right back. All right, Sagittarius, I'm back. We're going to start off with my right side, which is your left side, and this is your outer world. This is what you're aware of, and it is very much a reflection of. And that's why it's sitting on a mirror. Your inner world on my left side, your right side here. So whatever's going on in your left-hand side here, your inner world, which is your right side. I'll stop with the right and left side because that's just going to confuse you. You can see where I'm pointing to. So this is your inner world, and this is your unconscious. This is what's sitting in your shadow. This is that part of you when you were a young child, an adolescent, when you had trauma happen to you, when you had things said to you, things done to you. And if you were shamed by certain things in your life, you put that away, you repressed it, you shunned, if things were shunned, if they were repressed by your caretakers, or you put that all away, and also what can happen is you can find gifts in your shadow, because oftentimes our gifts show up when we're very, very young, and for some reason they get sort of banished, or it's like, no, you're not allowed to do that, or you're not allowed to have that, or our big emotions are in our shadow, because we're told when you're younger you don't bring out those big emotions or else. And so all those things that you weren't allowed to be or allowed to have, or people told you things about, you put it all away in your unconscious. And that is what, believe it or not, has the most impact on everything that's happening to you in these three areas of your life that will be happening to you. I think the impact is like 90% or something. You can even look it up, research on Google unconscious and conscious, I forget what it is, parts of you or something, and it'll tell you the impact of it, the percentage of it, and it's incredible when you find out that your unconscious is what's driving everything in your life, especially your relationships, whereas we think it's this conscious part, but it's not. So, and then I'm going to give you some advice from the tarot at the end, and I'll also give you some playlists at the end from my other channel called Carol Cares, just to help you out a bit through, as to how to help you get through this. So let's start out with your outer world. And I'm going to look at the top here, Sagittarius, and I'm going to look at what pattern or old habit is no longer serving you in 2025, and it needs to be released so that you can take back your power. And I start off here with one card. The main card here is your Magician card in reverse. Magician card in reverse, this individual has, in an upright position, this individual has this this glowing light, and it's almost like like to call it the lightning rod that comes from the power from the divine source, creator, God, whatever you want to call it, the universe. It comes through this the rod of the magician, and it grounds itself into the earth. It's not something that we keep, this power, but it's something that is we take and it grounds, it comes right through us and it grounds in the earth. It's a very grounded power. And it's like this knowing, this being able to manifest something in your life. And now I'm really careful when I use that word manifest, because for me, I've learned in my own healing journey that I can manifest things, and believe me, I have. But the problem is, if I'm not healed in that certain area of my life that I'm manifesting, i.e. relationships, I will continue to attract those same type of toxic people in my life if I haven't healed this part of me. And that's the thing about manifestation that people don't realize. But this magician comes out for you in reverse, because it's saying here that I think you don't believe you have the power in you to maybe change your life. I mean, there's something that's coming up here, a pattern or an old habit that you have. And I don't think you feel like you have the power of this magician to change your life. And that's why it's in reverse here. I do want to say that when I began my own intensive healing journey 7.5 years ago, I've been in and out of therapy all my life for my own complex trauma. And when I finally found the one therapist that understood me, and one of the first things she said to me was, Carol, you have all your answers in you. And that's not what I wanted to hear, because I wanted her to tell me what to do. I was so used to, in my life, being controlled all my life, that I wanted her to continue to tell me the answers. And so, a huge part of my journey was digging deep and getting inside and finding out, that I was capable of manifesting things, but in a very grounded way. And so I feel like I've told you those things because I'm supposed to. Sometimes I ramble on a bit and I go, why am I saying this? It's like, no, just let it go. Let it go. So we'll see how that, happens here. So the magician, and I think, so you're not aware that you have this pattern to break this, because right behind it comes the moon card, and it kind of got bent when it came out. It's like it was a struggle here to come out, but the moon card comes out when there are things that we don't know that are unseen to us, that are hidden to us, right? That's in an upright position. But I think you have kind of even like closed the door on the possibility of there's something maybe you're not aware of. There's something that's behind this pattern, this old habit of yours. You feel like on one hand that you have no control over it, and there's something that you're not aware of that maybe is preventing you from this thing, from feeling like you don't have the power. So I'm going to imagine it's something that to do with what's coming up in your shadow. After the moon card comes these heavy burdens here, this 10 of Wands, and so I'm wondering if you've been through this, this extremely heavy period of your life. You're at the end of a cycle here where it says, and the Wands are all about, the Wands want to move. They want to take off. They want to move. And here you are trying to hold on to them. This individual is trying to pull them down and keep them down. It's like, no, these Wands it wants to move out. Something wants to move out of your system here. And I think it's been pushing you to move it along, but you're like, no, I'm holding on to this. I believe I don't have any power over this. I can't control this from happening. And yet there's things that are hidden here that you're unaware of, that you're kind of like, you're not even looking at that. But yet it's like wanting to burst. I like to think of that 10 of Wands card as these helium balloons that you just purchased. and you're trying to put them in your car, and you're pushing them in and they want to go, and you're pushing them down and they want to go. This is what this 10 of Wands is like. And then this next card that comes out is this 2 of Cups. And in an upright position, this 2 of Cups is the beginning, because it's only a number 2, right? The pip cards in each suit go from Ace to 10. And this is just the beginning of a very healing, with this caduceus up here, a very healing relationship between 2 people. I will never tell you that there's going to be someone coming in your life that's going to be a relationship coming in for you. But what I will tell you is, this is a very, very, and it's in reverse, this is a very healing relationship. It's the beginning of a healing relationship. Very loving, very intimate. And it's the healing relationship with you, Sagittarius, with yourself. But it's in reverse here. And so there's a real fear, a real resistance on your part. And I can feel it. I felt it with the Magician, and I felt it with the Moon card. There's a real resistance on your part to going inwards, to getting back in your body, and to start to begin that relationship with yourself. And maybe that's the habit, the pattern that you have, you know. You feel it. You feel it over and over and over again. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to get still. I got to learn how to ground myself. I got to get back in my body. I got to, and there's this, you know, I got to get, you know, maybe got to get on my healing journey. Maybe you've been there before, and you just won't do it. There's like a block here to doing this. Very interesting, Sagittarius, because you are very much a sign, before we get to this Emperor card at the end, but you are very much a sign of constant learning. You're always seeking things, you know, you're a real learner. And in particular, you are always constantly looking for areas in your life to improve yourself. And so, you know, maybe you do that. Maybe you do that on different levels. But the one level I'm going to say that you're avoiding is to get in your body and to start to feel, start to really feel some of your emotions and begin this little relationship. I shouldn't say little. It's a powerful relationship, healing relationship with yourself. Last card that comes out here to get back your power is the Emperor. And he's number 4 in the major arcana. Very stable number 4, square, rigid, solid. I call him Mr. Emperor because I think he, you know, I don't know why I call him Mr. Emperor, but I think he kind of wants us to respect him, right? Because this is an individual. He's kind of like a father-like figure. Could be in your case, but he's put down these rules. And they're like, and he can sit here with confidence. Look at him. He has been in that cement chair quite a long time. He hasn't had to budge. It doesn't even look like he's ready to budge. He's quite comfortable. He's soon going to turn into stone, just like his chair, because he's been here so long. And he set out these societal rules that we're supposed to follow. And so I'm going to say here that, you know, I think you've been following some rules. And I think the Emperor card comes up when it starts to say, well, you know, maybe it's time to look at these rules that you've been following. Are these your rules, or are they the rules of someone else that you've just kind of inherited, adopted? I mean, when we were younger, we're like sponges, right? So we're told certain things. And so there's something here that's really blocking your ability to go inwards, because there's this part of you that here, this and you know, it could be our ego self that's coming in and going, nope, don't you dare go there. Don't you dare go and touch those emotions. Don't you go inwards. This self-improvement stuff is bullshit, you know, and that's the block that's coming up. And so where's that coming from? Your shadow. What's going on? What happened to you when you were younger? This is about when you're younger, an adolescent, when you're younger. So you start off with 2 cards here, the main cards. And the first one is the 2 of Pentacles. This individual that's balancing these pentacles on his nose. And then the Hierophant in reverse. 2 of Pentacles speaks about somebody that's very much I'm going to put this down. Multitasking. Very much in an upright position. It would talk about, I always call this, if it's not in the shadow, I would always say it's like that when we're really distracted. Really distracted, and we got so many things going on because we're trying to avoid things. And this is in reverse here in your shadow. So that tells me that when you were younger, you very much, I'm going to say, almost like learned to become a very distracted individual. And that means because of the way that you were wired, which is the Hierophant card. The Hierophant card talks about our obedience, you know, what we're supposed to obey, and you know, it's kind of like a black and white kind of thing, how we were wired. We were told what to do and not to do. And so I'm going to say, because it's in reverse, there was a real fear. There was a real fear put into you when you were younger. And that's what made you very distracted in your head, very dissociated as a child, because you had this incredible fear in you from people who raised you. And I think what's happening here is these sort of rules. Well, let me go into the last card and then I'll relate it to your conscious part over here again. Here's the 10 of, this part right here, these rules. And this is the 10 of Cups that comes in as a last card for your inner world and your shadow. 10 of Cups is that full range of emotion that we're supposed to have when we come into this world. We do have, until we're told to put it away, until we're told that our anger isn't good, it's dangerous, until we're told to put, you know, until we're shamed about certain things, until our joy is taken away. You know, all these big emotions, grief, we're not allowed to cry. And I'm thinking that you didn't have access to all of these emotions when you were younger. You put them away, all of them in your shadow here, these big emotions. And you were told, you were wired, don't you dare take those emotions out or else. So what's happening here is, in your conscious world, I just got finished saying that, you know, every time it comes up for you to, you know, go into your body, to start to feel some of these emotions, to start this little intimate, because it's number 2, I keep saying little, this intimate relationship with yourself. This is the pattern that comes up. You feel this huge block that comes on. Your ego self can come in and go, no, don't you dare go there, because this is what happened to you when you were younger. Don't you remember? And that's what the ego self does. It's like it's here as a protector. That's what our ego self does. It still thinks that we're in childhood, and we have to rewire our ego self, because they still think that we're a child now, and they're still trying to protect us. And so, yeah, it's like, don't you remember what happened to you when you were younger, when you tried to take those emotions out? Every single time, that's the fear that kicks in for you. And so let's go to the second line here. The truth. The truth. What false idea or belief about yourself do you need to become aware of in 2025? Well, you start off with this World card right here in your outer world. To me, the World card, I mean, it can speak of so many things. And here's the dancer in her ballerina slippers here. Maybe there's a word for them. But I see the World card as like a final show. Kind of like a closure here. So I think you're trying to get some closure for yourself. And maybe you will. I think you're going towards some closure. There's something here, not in that, not closure in that, you know, I'm going to be done my healing. Because we're never done our healing. We're always healing. But you're going to get to the end of something. And I see that because here's your 10 of Wands here, right? It's the end of something here. You're getting to, I'm going to get to this. I'm going to get to this finally. You know, remember I told you at the beginning you're a seeker. You're always seeking. And believe it or not, I don't know if you know this about yourself, but Sagittarius, you're you're a sign that is very, very philosophical. So you are on that spiritual path, you know. A lot of times Sagittarians will become, you know, those future energy healers. Those people that, because they are on the spiritual path here. So there's you're working towards some closure here, something to do with yourself. But you have, interesting, you have this Page of Pentacles that comes up in the middle of your truth. Here's the Page of Pentacles in reverse. My pages in my deck are inner children. And so this particular inner child of yours, it's the Page of Pentacles. It carries the pentacle right here. And if in an upright position, the pentacle talks about our body. Pentacle is the body. This particular child is very grounded. Believe it or not, when we are 4, 5, 6 years old, this is what the page is right here. We are very grounded in our body. And you were grounded. You have an inner part, an inner child of yours who was very grounded. I'm going to go back up here because I want to say that there's something that happened to you when you were younger that pulled you, and we already went there where the Two of Pentacles, remember I said the Two of Pentacles here, where he's really, really distracted and bouncing those pentacles on his head, just keeping himself distracted. There was something that happened to you when you were younger that caused you to be out of your body. And when that happens, it's something very painful that's happened to you. And the pain was too big for you as a child. And so that's why you went right up in your head and your ego kicks in here. And so you have these big emotions. That's why you have these big emotions right here that are sitting here needing to be healed. When a page comes up, when an inner child card comes up, it's a card that, and it's in reverse, and that means it's blocked. It needs to be listened to, and it needs to be understood, and it needs to heal. And we heal our inner children by feeling the big emotions that we put away when we were younger, because those are the emotions that they couldn't, they hold those big emotions for us now. You couldn't feel them when you were younger. And so an inner child is like a part that split off and took all these emotions and healed and holds them inside of us until we as an adult can feel it for them. And that's why this keeps coming up for you. There's some emotions that need to be felt, big ones. And the last card here is your Eight of Wands. And I wasn't sure if this one fell on the floor when I was shuffling. And I put it sideways. Eight of Wands speaks about all these wands going in a parallel direction here. They're going in, they're very focused here. And I can see you. Maybe you've been unfocused and you're kind of undoing it now. You're feeling yourself kind of starting to focus here in this area of going towards your truth. I think this year is going to be your year to find out what's going on, what's in my shadow. What are these things that are hidden right here that need to and if this card is upright, it's like these things are coming out now. These things that are hidden are coming out for you. But this card's in reverse. So I think you're going to find out, you're going to start to, you go inwards and you start to feel. You start to find out. You have to heal this little inner child of yours. What's sitting in your unconscious right now? So why do you have this illusion about yourself? And let's go back, because I didn't talk about what false idea or belief you have about yourself. yeah, I'm going to say maybe this is why this card is sideways. Because I think in the past, you couldn't feel like all those wands going in the same direction. You were so like, could be maybe your fear that was keeping you from doing it. But I think now you're believing, you're starting to believe that, you know, maybe there are things that you've been believing about yourself all along, and you are now going to finally start to get some answers. And you're going to realize once you start, this journey is about once you start getting answers about yourself, when you go inwards and you start to find out what's sitting in your shadow and what the real truth of everything is. That's the beauty of this journey, is that you really change, it changes your whole outlook. It gives you so much freedom when you go toward your authenticity and you find out who you really are. And so where is this illusion coming from? Like, what's sitting in your shadow here that has to do with this Page of Pentacles, this inner child here that used to be in their body and left their body when they're very younger? Well, I mean, interestingly enough, this whole row is about truth and your authenticity. And here you have the Queen of Swords. Couldn't get a better card. The Queen in my deck, she is the feminine side to us. We have a feminine side and a masculine side. And the masculine side is our ego self. The feminine side are these beautiful feminine qualities that we have. And she has the sword. She has the sword of authenticity. It's like the sword that's going to cut through all that bullshit. When you were younger, your true self and who you were, and that ability to know who you were, what you came here for. We all came on this earth for something. It's sitting right here in your shadow. You buried it. You buried your truth. It's sitting right at the front of your shadow, wanting to come out. There's truth that's dying, that's pushing to come out here. I think I've already got to that already. Seven of Swords comes here, and the Seven of Swords is in reverse. Seven of Swords talked about, and I love the 10 right after it. 10 of Swords and right after it. Seven of Swords talks about, it's the thief card. It's the picture of, in an upright position, this thief that's running away with these 5 of Swords, like he stole them, right? And he's left 2 of them behind. And they're solid, they're grounded, they're in the earth. But he's holding these 5 of Swords by the tip of his hand. Very, very dangerous. These are the 5 of Swords. These are the swords, these 5 swords, that he got from other people. And remember, this is your shadow when you were younger. Our swords are our mental energy. There are mental thoughts that we have about ourselves. There are our mental belief systems. People give us those when we were younger. When we're born into this world, we know who we are. We're very grounded. And then we have people like our caretakers, adults around us, that will tell us things about ourselves that are not true, that can be very, very hurtful. And we carry that in our unconscious. And those are our strong belief systems about ourselves that are driving everything here. And it's in reverse here. And so I think there was a real part of you that gave up on who you were because you were told, here's like that Queen of Swords sitting right at the front. You were told, you were handed a bunch of bullshit about yourself, and you gave up on who you really were. You gave up on your authentic self and you buried it in your shadow. And look what it did to you. It completely, this is number 10. It completely did you in. That person that you were when you came into this world was no longer. And you had to adopt, you had to put on these masks now in society because that real you wasn't allowed to exist. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough, but I think you're going to get to this year. You need to get to it. And purpose. like I said, you were, without even looking what's here, you have a purpose. Sagittarius, you have a purpose. You came here to do something. We all did. And oftentimes it's buried in our shadow. We have gifts that are buried in our shadow, right? And so what is the main obstacle that's going to prevent you in 2025 to move closer? Move closer. It could be a small little step towards your creative purpose, because we really don't know what our creative purpose is yet. But we take little tiny steps to move closer and closer, and we take intuitive moves in our life. I've been through a few of them myself, big ones lately, last few years, where I was moving closer and closer to my true purpose. Tarot, for example, is part of my purpose. It's not all of it. It hasn't been all revealed to me yet, but it's part of it. I'm moving closer and closer, but it's all done with, my intuition, listening, hearing. And for you, the main obstacle for you is going to be the Knight of Wands, and it's in reverse. So the knights in my deck are what I call your freedom fighters. It's that part of you that wants freedom. We all have it. It's an adolescent part of us. Everybody wants to be free. You want to be free from people controlling you, and you want to be free from any pain that you have. Like, no one wants to feel this pain, right? And it's a part of you, an inner part, that has been really been fighting for all your life to get free of this control. And I can feel this control and this pain that you have. We've already established it. I mean, you just have to look at this picture and you can feel it, right? This 10 of Swords. And so I think there's a part of you that's really been trying, and this is the obstacle that you have. And so you have this part of you that's wanting this freedom from oppression. It wants to move towards your authenticity, but it's blocked. It's in reverse here. And that tells me, because it's blocked, that there's some real, I wouldn't doubt it if you go into periods of hopelessness. If you're somebody that battles depression a lot, you could have some real anger, and if you do have anger, there's a really strong chance that it's ungrounded, which means it comes out at the wrong people or the wrong time. Or it's there, you could be one of those people that can't express their anger, but they really can feel a lot of depression. I was like that. And so this is the part of you that, this is the block here. It's this, either I'm thinking there's, like I said, there's hopelessness here that's blocking you. And we'll look at your inner world, your unconscious, in a minute. But I'm seeing that, maybe there's some depression that's blocking, or some anything to do with anger, maybe. And here's the 10 of Cups. That's the full range of emotion that we're born here to have. We're meant to have all these emotions. We are meant to feel every single emotion that comes in. And we feel it, we process it, and it moves out. Emotions are meant to flow like water all the time. And so I can see here that this is why this Knight of Wands. Well, I did say it was a knight, but I didn't talk about the suit. And the wand talks about taking your life into that direction you're meant to go into, and wanting to go that way, and wanting to go towards your creative purpose. But there's some real hopelessness here, and almost like, this 10 of Cups, like you're going to get stuck on this emotion. It's not going to be able to flow, your hopelessness. And here it is right here. Here's your hopelessness. It's the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. 5 of Pentacles is a card about unworthiness. These two individuals walking by the church and not feeling like they can go inside. That's a card of unworthiness, and or shame. Shame is the big emotion here, and it's in reverse. It's blocked. So I'm seeing here that what's blocking you from going towards your purpose in 2025 is that you have some hopelessness and some shame. Oftentimes when we, I mean, believe it or not, and you don't hear this a lot in mainstream psychology, if you are one that battles with depression and hopelessness, and believe me, I am one, when you start to really allow yourself to feel those feelings of hopelessness, and you really just, you ground into your body and you sit with those, a lot of shame will come up. Depression is a block. Depression is a block. It's a blocking emotion that we get stuck on so that we don't have to go beyond that. And beyond, underneath that feeling of hopelessness is always shame and grief. That's what's underneath those, and that's why we block it. Anger is also a blocking emotion. We will feel anger instead of feeling, because there's shame behind it. So very interesting that you have anger and you have the hopelessness coming up, because you can, they always say that anger and hopelessness is, they're both sides of the same coin, because we can go either or, we can switch back and forth to those. So I'm seeing here that those are your blocks for 2025. And so now let's look at what needs healing. How are you going to get at this hopelessness? What's causing the hopelessness? Because when we are feeling bouts of hopelessness, believe it or not, and it's something I've always said and I've learned in my own journey, is that our hopelessness that we feel right now as adults, believe it or not, it's not about now. It's not. I know it feels like it, but it's not. It's about a time right here when you were younger. And we're going to look at this when you felt incredibly hopeless when you were younger. And this is coming up in 2025 for you again to heal. This time when you healed it as an adult because your younger child couldn't feel it when they were younger. Well, the first card that comes out is the Five of Pentacles. And here it is right here. Same card. Here's the individual walking by the church here with the, not prepared, needing some help here. And here's your shame. Here's the shame that you felt when you were younger. Here's that unworthiness you felt when you were younger. And here's the explanation. Six of Swords. Six of Swords is this child with their mother, and they're being taken away. They're in the boat in the Rider-Waite deck, and they're being taken away to safer waters, to a safe place. Safety. And I'm going to say that when you were younger, you weren't in a safe place. You didn't have that feeling of safety. Very, very important when you're younger. If you don't have it, that's where our trauma comes in. Because if we're not feeling safe, that's where we can take on some real feelings of hopelessness. And I think that's where it's coming from in your childhood. You have two other cards here that for clarifiers. Well, your Knight of Wands came out again here when you were younger. Here's the Knight of Wands again when you were younger. Interesting that out of these cards, you have the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Wands right here, both of them. So you have two cards that are sitting in your shadow that came out for your outer world here. When I say that your outer world is a reflection of what's going on inside, it's right here. So here's your Knight of Wands, and we talked about that's that part of you that wanted the freedom to be you and to do something. Maybe there was something that you knew you wanted to do or was supposed to be when you were younger, and I didn't know. I got it through my memories. I get it, little bits and pieces of it. I have complex trauma, so been healing my last 7.5 years. I don't know if I said it yet in this reading, but I get little pieces of what I was supposed to do and what I came here to do on this earth as I heal. And so this is your Knight of Wands right here, where that part of you that you know, I think there was some control here, and you weren't able to be who you wanted to be. You weren't able to be authentic. You weren't able to take your life, do what you wanted to do when you were younger. And you didn't feel safe enough. And I know that again. And because that six of, I don't know if I said wands, but it's a six of swords. I describe it right, and sometimes I say it wrong. I mix up swords and wands, and I'm sorry if I have. But this six of wands right here, I said you didn't feel safe when you were younger. And here's a card that just highlights that and just really tells me again that this is you when you were younger. This individual is standing up on this mountaintop, this rock. It's like it's a lonely place up there. You know, up here trying to really become you. And you have these individuals at the bottom that are saying, no, you come down from that rock. Who do you think you are wanting to do that? You come down. And so you had some real invalidation and unsupporting people around you when you were younger, where you weren't allowed to be you. And if we're not allowed to be us, that brings in a lot of shame and unworthiness. And that's where that's coming from, and that's what needs to heal. And this Page of Pentacles is definitely here because it needs to heal. And so where do you begin with all of this? Because it was a bit of a heavy reading for you, Sagittarius, but where do you begin? You know, well, we start off with the Moon card here, and the Moon card was in reverse here, and now we get it as advice from the tarot. It's upright, and it says, I think it's time now that you, Sagittarius, start to become aware of these things that are hidden. The Moon card brings out all the things that are hidden. What things are hidden that you don't know, that are sitting in your shadow? And then you have the sword coming out. Now, I didn't sit here and make this up, this reading. It's incredible how these things fall in place. It really is, because you had the Moon card and you had this now you have an Ace of Swords instead of the Queen of Swords, but the Ace is beautiful. Let me tell you why. So it's time for you to start to, you know, take a real big look at what things are hidden that I don't know. Here's your Ace of Swords. This is a new gift. It is an offer from the universe that says, Sagittarius, that's in reverse, because there's a fear on your part or resistance to taking it, but it's an offer. And normally we take the offer. And like I said, Sagittarius, you are always one that's seeking, you know, anything to do with self-improvement. And so this is like, here's for you, Sagittarius, here's a gift, and it's the sword. This is the sword that you're going to take in 2025, and you're going to cut through the bullshit that you have been told by people, right? The one that you have over here that you ran away with when you were younger, the one that told you that you were unworthy, the things that, you know, people told you to make yourself feel less than, and you know, and you ended up becoming very hopeless because you weren't supported and you weren't validated. So here's the sword that you're going to take in 2025. And you're going to use it to cut through the bullshit. And you want to find out what's hidden behind that moon that needs to come out so that you can start to heal from it. I don't make it up. I promise you. There's the Two of Cups right here that you started out with. The universe wants you to begin again this beautiful relationship. Intimate, healing with the caduceus, vulnerable. And it's just the beginning. But the universe wants you to start to go inwards and start to find out who the real you is, so that you can find out what your purpose is and why you're on this earth. Beautiful. It started off, I mean, it is heavy, but it's just like, it ends in a very positive way. So are you going to take that sword this year? I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through this right now in 2025. This healing journey is an incredibly painful journey, but it's the most important journey of your life. And so I will see you soon. Bye.